Hi guys, Knock Knock Theo here for the first time live and in person, and it's a little weird. So I'm gonna push through because this is what you got to do. So welcome everybody to a brand new series called In My Opinion, and this series is exactly what it sounds like. It's just my opinion on things, whether it be mental health related or not. Right? It's just in my opinion on things that are going on in the world that I see something interesting on that I want to comment on. And before I go on and continue about the channel, about the content of this channel or this particular episode, is I want to say thank you to everybody who has told me how much I've helped them, told me that, said thank you, just all the great things. People who subscribed, who helped people using my advice, stuff like that. Like, thank you so much for continuing to do that because that makes me feel like, my life is worth living because this stuff is really, really important to me. You know what I mean? And when somebody tells me, oh my God, you helped me so much, or your advice really worked, like that's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. That makes me want to keep going, which is why I keep going. And here I am going, right? So with this particular episode, I want to talk about anxiety. And one of the tricks that I used to help with my anxiety, right? And this is really stemming from a piece of advice that I constantly see online from articles, right, about anxiety or conditions that have anxiety as a symptom, right? And one of the only thing that I see really that's very common is the idea of trusting the world again, right? So one article that I saw was like, oh, trust the world again. You're gonna need years of therapy, but you should be, but trust the world again, and you'll be able to lead a healthier and fuller life. And I don't believe that. Not one bit. I believe that because I can't trust the world, right? I can't. After everything that I've been through, I'm not gonna list off the things that I've been through. If you follow the previous like demons episode, um, if if something that I've been through um pertains to the particular like question that I'm answering, then I'll share my experience. But I'm not gonna list through all the things that I've been through. But let me tell you that the things that I've been through, you're not gonna get me to trust the world again. Like you're just not, right? So any therapy, and it feels like the therapist or anybody who sort of tells me, oh, trust people again. It's not that bad. Blah blah blah. I'm like, no, it's that bad, right? It's really that bad. So it's like the person who has told me that advice hasn't been through anything, you know, deeply disturbing in their life. I know that's a judgment call. I know I'm wrong for doing that, but that's just the impression that I get from that person, right? So I'll give you another example of that. So I had, so I was suicidal at one point, and it's going to be very difficult for me to take advice from somebody who's never been suicidal, right? Who doesn't understand, how it feels to know or believe that life is worthless and meaningless, right? And they're gonna tell, and that's like the worst thing that you can ever tell me. Don't tell somebody who's suicidal, oh, life is full of this and life is that and da 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 da. No, it's not. You can't tell. No. Anyway, before I go off on like an angry tangent, that's sort of the idea where I'm coming from, right? It's going to be very hard for me as a suicidal person to trust the advice of somebody who's never been suicidal because they never felt it. They never felt the pain, right? So, how do you know where I'm coming from with that? And the same idea is with the whole trust issue, right? It feels like you've never felt the pain of mistrusting somebody and you're going to give me the advice of some, and you're going to give me the advice of from somebody who's never had the pain of mistrusting someone, right? So they don't know what it feels like to be hurt by somebody who they've trusted. You know what I mean? That's the impression that I get. So this is the advice that I'm going to try to tell that I want to give you guys that's helped me, right? So the advice I'm about to tell you is to trust yourself. When you can't trust anything, when you can't trust people in the world, trust yourself. And there are two ways that you can do that. The first way is to trust the body of knowledge that you acquired throughout your entire life, right? So, what I mean by that is, in the beginning, you're a kid, you're on your high chair, you knock over a sippy cup, you see the sippy cup fall over, and that's the expected reaction, right? And that body of knowledge, that knowledge that you acquired, tipping over the sippy cup and then falling over, from that point on, and every time you knock something over, it's going to fall to the floor, right? And that gives a very predictable outcome, right? But as you get older, things get more complex, and you are not able to predict the outcome of things that like you used to when you were a kid, because things are not that simple anymore, right? But you can trust the idea of, or you can trust the knowledge that you've acquired, in the sense that things are not going to be the way that you turned them out to be, right? You can so anticipate things, right? Anticipate things. Okay, so because that's what anxiety kind of like, it can actually kind of wake you up in a way, right? You're nervous about this, you're nervous about that. You don't know how it's going to work out, and you want things to work out this way. So increase the odds of you winning by being better prepared, right? Anticipate objections, anticipate things that can go wrong, be better prepared, right? Because throughout your life, let's say you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, maybe you're still in your teens, right? But but something that will happen to you in the future is something already closely related to something that you've already done in the past, right? And in the past, when you've failed a test, or when something didn't go the way you planned, you bounce back. You've always bounced back, which is why you're still here. You're still here alive watching this channel. You've bounced back in whatever it is that you were doing, right? So trust that knowledge. Trust the knowledge that you will bounce back, and trust the knowledge that you are able to anticipate. No, trust the knowledge that things can go wrong, and anticipate what can go wrong, and better prepare yourself, right? And mental health is actually really great for that, because, and it was such a really positive thing for me. Um, I want to give a big shout out to my friend who gave me that piece of advice, that there's positives in the trauma. So in your mental health journey, and trying to figure out who you are, and in trying to figure out, who you are as a human, what you like, what you dislike, the patterns of human behavior, stuff like that. One of the best things, that's one of the best bodies of knowledge that you can ever acquire in your life, is the knowledge you have about humanity, right? And Carl Jung said a quote about this, like, getting to know the darkness within yourself is really best in getting to know the darkness of other people, right? So, and that's what mental health does, getting this, the idea of self discovery. Because once you know yourself as a human being, what makes you irritable, what makes you self destruct, what makes you thrive, what makes you, stuff like that, you can understand how that applies to other human beings as well, right? So, acquiring knowledge about your own mental health and the way you are as a person, the personality, and all that kind of stuff is transferable, to other people. I'm not saying that, you like to wake up early in the morning means that everyone likes to wake up early in the morning, but you understand the idea of having preferences, and having those preferences being tailored to the way you want to dictate your day. So you can understand how somebody else would say, I'm not a morning person, I'm more of a night person, because these are my preferences and how I want to run my day, right? And you can understand that. So mental health and self-discovery and stuff like that, it's a huge body of knowledge that you can acquire, that will definitely help you in trying to understand the world, and will definitely help you in alleviating your anxiety. Because when you meet somebody new, or when you meet new people, you will already understand, there are going to be different personalities in a group of people. Not all personalities will match, not all personalities will get along, but some will. You know what I mean? And you'll figure it out as you go. So that's number one. Trust the body of knowledge that you've acquired throughout your life, because you've been through stuff very similar, and you will go through stuff in the future that will be very similar to what you've done in the past before. But you're so anxious about not messing up, that you forget that you are better prepared than you think you are. So trust yourself in that way, okay? The second way to trust yourself is to trust your instincts as well, right? And that really helped me go through certain things that I was unfamiliar with, right? So there are things that, there are going to be new challenges that you're going to go through. There are challenges that I've, haven't really been through myself, that are new to me, that I don't know how to handle. But there were times in my life where I followed my instincts, right? I didn't know where things were gonna go. I didn't know how things were gonna happen or whatever. But I said, but following my instincts and remembering all the times, even when I was a kid, remembering all the times that I followed my instinct, and it turned out, and it turns out that I was right, helped give me confidence that I can handle anything, right? I don't know if I can, but I believe I can because I've handled things in the past that I didn't think I could handle before, and I've handled them. I'm alive, I'm here, I'm handling the best as I can, and that's sort of how you can mitigate all the anxiety that you're feeling. Okay, acknowledge that you have a racing heartbeat. Acknowledge that you have sweaty palms and that you're nervous, all that kind of stuff, because that stuff is really really normal. But don't ever forget that you've acquired so much knowledge, and that you have instincts that can help you figure things out. So trust yourself. You don't have to necessarily trust the world. That's okay, but trust yourself. Trust the body of knowledge that you've acquired about people and about the world, and use that as a platform to launch yourself into new things that you want to try that you were too scared to try. Okay? All right, that's it for this video. It's starting to rain, and I'm out of here. Bye.